Breaking news out of England.
What started as a royal celebration turned into a discovery that could shake the monarchy to its core. During Prince William's birthday, Windsor Castle was alive with energy. The halls were glowing, music echoed through the rooms, and every detail had been carefully arranged to honor the future king. Diplomats, dignitaries, and close family members filled the palace with elegance and controlled celebration. From the outside, it looked flawless. But inside, something unexpected was already unfolding. Away from the formal gathering, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis were doing what children do best, turning a grand palace into their playground. Running through long corridors, laughing without restraint, stepping into rooms that carried decades of history. In a place built on rules and tradition, they were simply being children. And that's when everything changed. Charlotte, searching for a hiding spot, quietly slipped into a room that carried a different kind of importance. The private bedroom of King Charles III and Camilla. The room was still, almost untouched, a space that rarely saw movement beyond its owners. At first, there was nothing unusual, but then she crouched down and slid beneath the bed. And in that small, hidden space, her hand brushed against something strange. Not fabric, not wood. Something out of place. Curious, she shifted slightly and noticed a narrow seam in the floorboards. A detail so subtle it would go unnoticed by almost anyone, except her. Carefully, she pressed against it. And just like that, a hidden compartment opened. Inside a wooden box. Dark, solid, carefully concealed. This wasn't something misplaced. It was something hidden on purpose. Charlotte didn't understand that. To her, it was just an exciting discovery. A secret treasure found during a game. She picked it up and ran off, her laughter echoing through the corridor. But what she carried was far more than a child's prize. The next day, in a completely ordinary moment, everything shifted. While spending time with her grandfather, Charlotte casually mentioned what she had found. At first, King Charles III didn't react. But the moment the box was placed in his hands, the atmosphere changed. His expression tightened. His movements slowed. Because something about that box felt familiar. With steady but tense hands, he opened it. And inside was something he never expected to see again. An emerald ring. Not just valuable, but deeply personal. It once belonged to Queen Elizabeth II, and had later been given to Princess Diana. A symbol of trust, of legacy, of connection between two iconic figures. And yet, after Diana's death, the ring had disappeared. No record, no explanation, no closure. It simply vanished. Until now. And somehow it had reappeared in the most impossible place imaginable. His own bedroom. That realization didn't just create confusion. It created suspicion. Because in a system built on structure and record, nothing like this happens by accident. From that moment, Charles made a decision. He would not go public. He would not involve outsiders. Instead, he would handle it quietly and find the truth himself. But as he began to think through the situation, one uncomfortable reality kept returning. The location, the access, the secrecy. All of it pointed towards someone who could move within those boundaries without question. Camilla. Still, suspicion wasn't proof. And in a family like this, proof is everything. Meanwhile, subtle changes began to appear. Camilla became more careful, her tone more controlled, her movements more measured. To most people, it meant nothing. But to Charles, it meant everything. Because he knew something was off. And then, the situation escalated. That same night, a quiet decision was made. Camilla reached out to someone from her past. A former royal aide who understood the palace, its layout, its security. Someone who could move without raising suspicion. Her request was simple. Retrieve the box. No delays. No mistakes. Because if that ring disappeared again, there would be no evidence left. And without evidence, there would be no accusation. The plan was precise. A late-night entry. A lesser-used access point. Minimal exposure. Everything designed to leave no trace. As night fell, the palace returned to silence. But outside a shadow moved. Slow, careful, intentional. Step by step, the intruder made his way inside. The corridors were quiet, the lights dim, the air still. Everything was going according to plan. Until something changed. Not an alarm, not a guard, but a single moment of awareness. Catherine, Princess of Wales, noticed something unusual. A faint sound that didn't belong. In a place where every movement is controlled, even the smallest noise becomes significant. She paused, listened, and acted. Within minutes, security was alerted. The silent palace transformed into a controlled operation. The intruder tried to escape, but the system was faster. He was caught. And once caught, silence didn't last long. Under pressure, he revealed everything. Who sent him, what he was after, and why it had to disappear. Camilla's name surfaced. And with that, the situation changed completely. But Charles wasn't finished. Because one piece of evidence leads to another. And he needed to see the full picture. Days later, he made a quiet journey. No announcement. No attention. His destination. Ray Mill House. Camilla's private residence. A place separate from the palace. A place where fewer eyes watched. At first glance, everything seemed normal. But Charles wasn't there for appearances. He ordered a full inspection. Room by room. Detail by detail. Until something caught his attention. A locked door. Different from the rest. Newer. More secure. It stood out. And once it was opened, everything changed. Inside were shelves. And on those shelves, boxes. Dozens of them. Carefully arranged. Precisely placed. Charles stepped forward and opened one. Then another. And another. Each one revealed something significant. Royal jewelry. Historic pieces. Items connected to Queen Elizabeth II. Items connected to Princess Diana. But what truly stood out were the labels. Handwritten notes attached to each piece, claiming they were gifts, private transfers, personal ownership. But none of it matched official records. None of it existed in documented history, which meant only one thing. Someone had created a version of events that never happened. Not by mistake, but by design. At that moment, Charles understood the scale of it. This wasn't about a missing ring. This was about rewriting history. Back at the palace, everything moved quickly. Photos were taken. Records were compiled. Statements were secured. Even the intruder's confession became part of the file. Now, there was no uncertainty. Only action. Camilla was called in. The setting was quiet. Controlled. No audience. No distractions. Just the truth, waiting to be faced. The wooden box was placed on the table. The emerald ring visible. Charles spoke calmly. He laid out everything. The discovery. The hidden room. The collected evidence. Piece by piece. No emotion. Just facts. Camilla listened and then responded. Calm. Confident. Denial. She dismissed it all. Called it assumptions. Misinterpretations. Weak conclusions. But this time, the situation was different. Because the evidence wasn't simple. It was layered, detailed, connected, and impossible to ignore. The matter was taken internally, handled within the royal system. No public scandal, no headlines. But inside, everything shifted. A decision was reached. Camilla stepped back from public life. Her appearances reduced. Her presence slowly fading. No official statement. But the silence itself became the message. Meanwhile, Charles remained steady. Because, for him, this was never just personal. It was about responsibility. Protecting the legacy of Queen Elizabeth II. Preserving the memory of Princess Diana. And ensuring that history remained true. What started as a simple game played by a child uncovered a secret hidden deep within royal walls. A secret that almost disappeared forever. And even now, one question still lingers. Was this the only truth hidden inside the palace? Or just the first piece of something much bigger?